Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for our NBC's New Amsterdam watch party. I am Kaylee Smith Westbrook, and I am one of the founders of SeriesFest. For those of you joining us who don't know anything about SeriesFest, we are a nonprofit organization that celebrates underserved voices and emerging artists in the episodic landscape. We do that through initiatives, educational programs, year-round development opportunities, and we culminate every year in a festival. Normally it's in Denver in June. This year we're actually going to be doing it virtually. So please join us June 18th through the 24th. Sign up for our newsletter. You can get information there or check out our website. I'm so excited about tonight. Tonight would not be possible without our amazing sponsors. So I want to give a huge shout out to them. So thank you to NBC, Once Upon a Time Productions, and JPB Morgan, Chase and Company. And of course, we are a nonprofit, so events like this would not be possible without our amazing supporters and donations. There is a donation tab right below there on YouTube. Tonight's event is free, but a suggested donation of $10 is what we recommend, or anything you could give, we'd be ever so grateful. So tonight we have Ryan Eggold from NBC's New Amsterdam joining us, and I am going to let Ryan come on in and join us. I think he's just—
Hey.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
Oh, we're breaking up a little bit.
Watching a competitive cooking show with my mom. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, you were just breaking up for a second. You know, the fun old age of Zoom, I guess, is what we're living in. Oh, you're frozen.
Yes, this is the future where we all live on computer screens.
I know. It's absolutely crazy. How are you holding up through all of this?
Good. Just watching some cooking show with my mom at the moment, which is good. Is this working?
Yeah, you were just breaking up a tiny bit. You're watching a cooking show with your mom, you were saying? Uh-oh. You know, just have a little—
and that's about it. And just hanging out.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Well, I understand, you know, your parents are doctors and your sister is a nurse. How are they doing through this all? Everyone's safe and hanging in?
Yeah. My folks are home, just taking it easy, quarantining. My sister is working at the hospital in Anchorage, Hospital Providence. Doing an amazing job and trying to take care of everyone. And yeah, but luckily everybody's doing
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
yeah.
Well, we actually, for everyone watching, Ryan and I actually went to college together. We met back at USC in 2006. I think you were a little younger than me, but you've always, as long as I've known you, always—
I think.
When was it? Oh, sorry, you're right. 2002, 2001. You're right. That's when we graduated. Oh my God, I'm aging myself here. Shouldn't be giving years.
I think it was 1970. 1970?
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Right. 1970. Yes, exactly. But you've always gone back and forth between acting, writing, and directing. And I was just curious a little bit if you could talk about that. And your path really has been, we know you as an actor, on many different TV shows, and how you've really integrated the writing and directing into your career.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've always been interested in that, and it seems the most exciting thing, sort of find, all of it, and try to sort of create the content. That's my goal, I suppose, where I'm trying to head towards and learn from all these David Schallner of this show and all the folks who put it together. But yeah, they were expressed interest in directing, and I think they had seen one or two of the things I'd done, and it was an amazing opportunity to direct this to work with everybody, and it was really fun to, be having been the, actor on the show, to approach the same material from a different perspective. And, when you're reading a script to play the character of an actor, you're sort of just interested in certain elements, that would impact the performance that you want to bring. But then when you're directing, you want to break down all the different elements and the headspace of each character and the themes and the story as a whole. So it was fun. It's a fun challenge.
And did you get to shadow another director before that to like learn the process, or how did you, just from being on set as much as you have been with the show?
Yeah, no, both. And I directing is an amazing. There's so much to learn how to do that well, and I feel like I'm getting better at it each. Have much to learn, and able to keep doing it. I think reading a lot of scripts, whether it's in college, reading plays and things, or acting professionally and reading TV scripts, film scripts, just digesting that material, I think, is really helpful. Even if you don't really realize it, you're like, oh wow, I've read a lot of stuff, and I felt when the story feels good, or when it feels bad, or when something feels honest, or when it feels false, and things like that. Episodic, you work with so many different directors back to back to back, and again, you feel what directors speak to you in a way that's what directors speak to you in a way that's less helpful. What do certain directors do that you admire, that you want to take from, and not so much from others, and things like. And then yeah, on this show, I didn't have the chance to fully shadow anyone because I would always have to do the acting part. But Michael Slovis was, who I often, he's our producing director and a great dude. And yeah, I would take a day here and there, or just watch, even when I was on set in a take, or if I had a offers, and just watch whenever I ask questions and of Andy Vogely, our DP, and learn about lens choices and why you may or may not do this move. And and Peter Horton, the producer of ours, who's a great director, spoke to him a bunch about it. So yeah, have a lot of great folks to kind of shadow, you know, all all over the place.
And how was that going from, being an actor and working with, your fellow castmates, and then all of a sudden being in the director position? Um, was that challenging in any way, or was it just fun working with your friends?
It is challenging because you have a personal relationship with these people beforehand, and then you also, your sort of working relationship has been, and that is of a fellow actor doing scenes together. So then when your fellow actor is saying to you, why don't you try it this way, you're like, that's not how you, because you were sort of there's a moment where you have to, reshift the way in which you are working at and speaking to each other. And I mean, the good news is that the cast on New Amsterdam, Freema Janet, Jocko, Anna Palm Tyler, and everyone who comes on the show are so great that there's not a ton of direction that they need in terms of their part, because they know their character better than anyone, and they knock it out of the park every week. And so it's really just about um, just playing and seeing, I mean, like, one thing I asked was like, was there anything that they hadn't done with their character yet that they wanted to try, some action push or anything like that, just to say what would be exciting to you. But yeah, it's cool. And then I mean, it's funny, with appreciation for actors, which I do, but then when you direct and you step outside of it, you really appreciate actors because you're just watching what they do, watch them make this or that line work, or this or that moment, and it's so yeah, it really makes me appreciate them kind of all over again.
That's awesome. That's great. Well, you guys shot a pandemic episode, I read online, and that was shelved. So
Yeah.
what's it like now, having shot that, or anything you learned from that experience, and now you're sitting here, you know, pondering and thinking about?
Yeah, well, the timing of it was just kind of insane. I mean, the writers had written that episode months before coronavirus was every headline, um, and we had shot it kind of just before things started to ramp up, and then everything happened, and yeah, they pulled the episode because it was just a little too close to home right now. When the medical community is working so hard, real life, and when people are scared, it just didn't seem like the best time to run a storyline about,
Yeah.
people, uh, being hurt by a pandemic. But but yeah, I'm excited for people to see that episode in not even for pandemic storyline as much as I'm pretty sure that's the episode that Tyler and Janet have this really great storyline. Um, have some really great scenes together, so it'll come out at some point.
Yeah. Well, when I read about that, I was thinking about you all, and that must have been very surreal and crazy. Before we continue, we're going to jump into questions from the audience, because I have a bunch of people typing in on YouTube and Facebook, but we're having a little bit of trouble. It's a little choppy. Do you mind just hanging up, calling back in, and then just so we can get maybe a stronger connection? Maybe that's the way this internet god works. Maybe.
Or maybe I'll try it on my phone for whatever reason it'll work better on my computer.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
And as Ryan reconnects,
All right.
for those of you just joining us, so SeriesFest is a nonprofit organization dedicated to championing artists, emerging artists, and well-known artists in the episodic industry and field. We do this with year-round programming, in initiatives, educational programs, professional development opportunities. So if you're interested and love TV, or if you're an emerging writer and you want to learn more, please go to our website. We have our virtual festival coming up in June, June 18th through the 24th. So sign up for our newsletter. Also, because we're a nonprofit, we cannot do this without the incredible donations from you all and from our sponsors. So if you see right below you, there is a tab. Such suggested donation for tonight is $10, but whatever you can give, we're super grateful. We love doing programming like this every week, and talking to wonderful talent. And we really can't do that without you guys and without our amazing sponsors tonight. NBC, Once Upon a Time Productions, and JP Morgan Chase and Company are sponsoring. So thank you so much. And you should also check out some of the other programming we have coming up. We have watch parties every Wednesday. Now through the festival, we have different creator hangouts. We have an incredible community of artists and creators who have been at different festivals with us at SeriesFest over the past 5 years. And they're all hopping on and talking with our directors of programming, Claire Taylor. So please join us for those. And I think Ryan is hopping back on. So hopefully this worked. There we go. Oh, I think that's better. Oh, I'm so excited. Wait, connecting to audio. Let's see. There we go. I can't hear him yet, but I can see him.
Hello.
Oh, yay. That's so much better. Thank you for doing that.
Great, sure.
Yes. Oh my gosh, so much better.
Good.
Awesome.
Over the computer. Yeah.
I know. I wish we were doing this in person.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have audience questions. We have a lot of fans typing in, so we'll see if we get to all of these. So LB3000.
I have time for half of one question, and that's it.
Okay, done. How long did it take?
Did what, take this episode?
You said half of a question. I was just kidding with you.
Oh, okay.
How long did it take you to prep to direct the episode, and how long do you have from receiving the script to starting to shoot?
Gosh, that's a great question. I'm trying to think of exactly. I mean, traditionally you basically have the episode before to prep for the next episode. So each episode takes 8 days, right? I think 8 days to shoot. And so you generally have 8 days to prep, which involves, sitting down, breaking down the script, talking about casting, talking about everything, every prop you're going to need, every set piece, every location move, scheduling, timing, all that stuff. So yeah, you have an episode to prep, and you have a ton of help. Like, the director, any director generally doesn't just sit in a room and make a bunch of stuff happen. You'll sit at a table with a ton of people, every head of the department, from wardrobe to makeup to the ADs, who are amazing, and to everybody, and everybody will bring their expertise to it and break down their piece of the puzzle and say, well, okay, well, XYZ, we might need this, and so on. So yeah, it's a fun part of the process.
That must have been tricky to balance your schedule doing all of that while shooting an episode. Did you sleep at all?
No, I really didn't. But that was one of the times I slept less in my life. And then it would be funny because, like, there'd be days where I'm supposed to be in prep, but I'd be, I have to shoot half a day or something. So I'd have like 4 scenes to shoot, and then I would come to a meeting like in scrubs, and try to prep the next episode. And it was funny. But again, incredible support from everybody, and it was a blast.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
AJ Furman is an actor and on our Facebook page, and he asked, how did it feel to transition from an ass-kicking, secret-keeping spy to an ass-kicking earnest doctor?
That's a good question. There's such different roles, and the shows are so different tonally. What I liked about Blacklist was that it was more genre, and it was kind of mystery and spies, and I got to do fight scenes and car chases, and be sort of a villain at times, and then be a more mysterious. I mean, there were a lot of different sides to the coin to that character, and it was really fun. And then the goal on New Amsterdam is more naturalistic, because it's based on real material, real guy, Eric Mannheimer, who wrote this book about his experience at Bellevue. And so it's a TV show, it's not a documentary, and it's not real life, but the goal is more to capture real people, and their stories and things. So tonally, that's the biggest difference, I would think, is that, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Leah Zillick asked, your mantra on the show is, how can I help? Was this Maxism something you came up with, and does it translate to your life off the set?
What are they asking? Someone that I came up with?
Yeah, did you come up with the how can I help, and is that something you came up with?
Totally. Any good line on the show, I came up with it. I write most of the show by myself. There's a group of writers that get paid, but they don't really do anything. They kind of just ask me, what should we write? No, I'm teasing. I did not write How Can I Help? David Schulner wrote that. You'd have to ask David and if he wrote that of his own imagination, or if he took it from the book somewhere, or a conversation with Eric, perhaps, and Eric's mentality, who was a very helpful, involved person. But yeah, David wrote that, and yeah, they've written a lot of good lines. But there was a second part of the question.
Oh, does it translate to your life off the set?
Sure, I think so. Yeah, I mean, it certainly makes you more conscious of helping others, which is something I try to do anyways, as we all should do. But yeah, playing a character who is constantly trying to help other people and put others before himself and things like that. Yeah, it does remind you to aspire to that kind of altruism and generosity in your own life. And it's a nice, a lot of people say, oh, I wish Max was my doctor in real life. And, he's not a real life doctor. He's certainly a TV character, but he's a lovely ideal to aspire to in terms of that kind of enthusiasm for other people.
Right. So everyone on YouTube is asking about Sharpwin. Malasha wants to know, where do you see Sharpwin's relationship going in season 3?
That is a great question. I
Can
mean,
you answer that?
yeah, I mean, no, halfway, I can say this. I wish that, I mean, not that there's, people's safety and health comes first. So I don't say this in terms of any, you know, in a sincere way, but I would have loved for people to see the end of this season that David, and the writers and everyone had planned, but solely because I know the audiences, and myself as an actor playing this, I was super curious about that story. And there was a lot of development at the end of the season, for that, the storyline. Some of it has to do with, Daniel's character who just joined the show. And yeah, it's I mean, yeah, obviously I can't say, but I can say that it is coming to a head, and that I know that it does feel like it's time for something to happen one way or the other, whatever that means. There needs to be some conversation had or action taken or something. And I think that was in the works and coming, and then we, like the rest of the world, got put on hold. So I'm excited to see how it shakes out in season 3.
How many episodes do you guys have left when everything got?
We only had 3 more episodes. Episode 20, 21, and 22 were still to be filmed. In fact, I think we started day 1 or 2 of 20 and then walked away like everybody else. But yeah, so 3 more. So I'm not sure if they're going to sort of make that the beginning story of season 3, or if they're going to kind of shift and build to that later. Now I'm not sure.
Yeah. Let's see who else. So this is a non-New Amsterdam question, but Sean Quinn asks, what did you learn working with Spike Lee?
He's such a obviously talented filmmaker, and such a character, and not exactly what I expected in terms of, he's kind of an imposing figure when you see him from afar, or when you first meet him, or certainly when you're in a room reading for him, and then you get to know him a little bit, and he's just like this teddy bear, cheerleader, trying to make everyone better, so funny and so much fun. And so that was a nice, I don't know, surprise, that just to learn how much heart he has, and he always has a good time on set. But he's also very efficient, and that's, he's not overly precious about the work in a great way, in the sense that he doesn't like to over rehearse to let things get stayed or rehearsed or perfectly practiced. He likes to just kind of do it before you have a chance to figure out exactly how you want to do it. So there's a kind of a rawness to his work sometimes, often, that you see. And yeah, so that was one, that was a great lesson, to not overthink it, and to do it, and to let there be some kind of visceral, messy human quality to it, I guess.
Well, Amber lawyer from YouTube wants to know. Wait, sorry, I'm reading the wrong one because it's random. Sorry, Lindsay Zerla wanted to know how old you were when you knew you wanted to be an actor.
That's a good question. I was pretty young when I was interested in it from afar, without any real sense of what the real job would entail. But I'm curious to hear your story, your answer to this question too, Kaylee. I had, too much energy, and like to make other kids laugh, and embarrass myself for attention, or make a joke, or be, go up and write something ridiculous on the board when the teacher's not looking, to make everyone laugh. Like, I had that that
You
kind of
were the
classic,
class clown. Is what you're telling me?
to some extent. Yeah. Yeah, slash, like, kid who was, clearly addicted to attention, and making people getting a reaction out of people some way or another. Yeah, so that was, and then I was maybe going to start professionally as a kid, but my parents weren't into that idea. They wanted me to get an education and read books or whatever, and so I did some of that. And but yeah, and then I fell in love with dramatic literature, which sounds silly, but plays especially, and theater was, just the energy of it, and the fact that you were trying to understand something about people and the way we interact with each other and what the point of this existence is, and love or war or these huge issues in our lives. I just thought it was cool. Yeah, and it was fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
When did you get into it, Kaylee?
I mean, I popped out of the womb, I think, just knowing. I remember being like,
just singing.
Totally, I
like,
was.
Whoa.
No, I was like 3 years old. I remember looking at the TV and going like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
You know, and I grew up auditioning a little bit like in Denver, and like I was auditioning a little bit in New York when I was in high school. But I didn't like do the whole thing of move to LA or New York and like really, do it. And a part of me is angry at my parents for that. Sorry, mom and dad, if you're watching. But a part of me is really grateful because like I went to USC and got an education, and we I mean, you liked our training and stuff at SC, didn't you? The program?
I did, yeah. But I have I'm of a few minds about it. I mean, I 4 years is a long time for a theater program, and I just think that if you want to be a doctor or an engineer or something that requires academia, and I respect the hell out of those people when I say that, you doing it. So, but that said, we had some amazing people there, Jack Rowe and many others who were great. And the best thing for me, I don't know about you and your experience, but was just that it was like, and I say this in retrospect, I didn't know this at the time, but that it was like just a consequence-free place to play and explore and read and, put up your own play or audition for something. And it was just a place to immerse yourself in all this stuff and enjoy it and learn and not, not have to worry about the professional aspects of it yet, which
Right.
can alter the purity of it,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We had some great teachers and
Great folks. Yeah.
And you have a very successful BFA class that you graduated with, a lot of working people.
A lot of handsome
A lot of
cats.
handsome working people out there that we're watching on television right now. It's very exciting to see you all doing so well.
Good folks, yeah. And it's so cool that you started SeriesFest. I just think it's great, and I think it's a natural evolution in all this. And I wish that we were doing it in person and instead of living through little screens, but maybe soon enough. Yeah.
Well, before we sign off, I have a very important question because many fans are asking right now on YouTube, and Melanie Crockett wants to know. They're all asking about your hair.
Okay.
Your hair. So they're all curious. Do you have an upcoming project you can tell us about? I think everyone's speculating there's something going on with your hair right now that maybe you're prepping for something.
It's kind of both is the truth. I was growing it out for something that I was going to shoot, that I was writing actually. And then now that's on hold because of the pandemic that's happening, and along with everything else. So then there was something else I was going to do that kind of some version of the shaggy or longer thing would also work very well for a character who's kind of unkempt and let himself go and stuff. And that's on hold. And not to mention, there is not a hairstylist in sight to cut his mane, and there's nothing I can do about it.
You don't want to just try it yourself?
God, no. But I mean, I love it. I would be like my natural state would be like a reclusive, just hairy, down to just a beast man wandering in the woods, mumbling to himself. No, so I kind of like it. It's fun.
I think it looks good.
Yeah, it's fun. I don't have to play this particular character right now, whom it might not work as well for. But it's fun. I was talking with my mom the other night, like one of the silver linings of this pandemic is that it's kind of, I don't know, we always feel naturally this obligation to be productive, to be working, to be doing something. So it's kind of great to take this time to not do that every second and just accept it, what it is for a minute and relax and let your hair get weird.
Do you feel that way? Have you been able to actually relax? Because I've almost felt like I have this time, so I have to be doing stuff. So I'm like constantly trying to create stuff. So have you found like that balance that I should find of just actually relaxing?
I think, and I mean, I'm like you. I'm not great at it either. And when this first started, I was like, like everybody, like, what do I do? How do I fill up my days? How do I structure my time? What's happening here? But then, I got myself a space where I could sit down and write and try to give myself some hours. I'll write between this time and try to be productive that way. But then also try to, try to enjoy. I mean, today I've done absolutely nothing and it's been fantastic. And I think that's important too, especially when you think about the fact that this will end and we will all be back in the hustle and bustle of our lives before you know it. And you'll be tired and overworked and exhausted, wishing that you just had a few days to do nothing, being like, why didn't I just embrace that time? So I think it's important, to recuperate sometimes.
Is there anything you feel that you do differently now in your day-to-day in life after this experience, besides wash your hands all the time?
Yeah, yes, definitely. I think, I mean, sometimes the pace of our lives gets so frenetic, not always, but sometimes the pace of our lives just gets so frenetic and we're just rushing from one thing to the next and trying to make this or that appointment that we just are less present in our lives. And maybe it sounds like overly spiritual or hippy dippy, but I think it's important. Certainly for me, I feel better if you can in your daily life stop and be still for a moment, just appreciate, and just check in and just not feel so rushed and not feel like you have to finish that thing by whatever time. You have to get back to that email. You have to call it, or you have to run to that thing. And a little slower pace here and there would be a good thing for us all.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. And I've been cooking more than I've ever cooked in my life. So I'm ready
That's awesome. Good for you.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for doing this. We loved having you out at SeriesFest a few years ago. We did the premiere of New Amsterdam and it was amazing. And so it was fun to, have you back and hear you talk about your work. And I'm just so proud of you and everything you're doing. So keep making great work.
Thanks, Kaylee. Likewise, it's a pleasure. And I look forward to doing this next year in person.
Yeah, we'd love that. All right. Good night, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you can, don't forget about that little donation button down below. We would ever so much appreciate it so we can continue bringing you awesome programming like this. All right. Have a good night, everyone.
Stay safe.